to get another opportunity to talk about Habitat for Humanity. I think I gave a presentation here about 14 years ago, something like that. Because I remember when I decided that we were going to do this, I went back and looked at my computer and found it, and people were noticeably younger. There were plenty of pictures, and they were noticeably younger. So we've been at this a little while, and I thought this title page was perfect because Habitat for Humanity is a hand up, not a handout. And after we get going through it, you'll understand what we put everybody through to actually be able to buy a house at the end. Oh, I need the little sheet. Okay, I'm only going to read a couple of things through this whole presentation, but I think we should read the mission. And this is the mission for Habitat for Humanity of Coastal Fairfield County. That is the affiliate of Habitat International in Connecticut, and there are 6 affiliates in Connecticut. And this is the one that goes along the seashore. I'll show you a map in a minute, but this is our mission in that affiliate. Habitat for Humanity of Coastal Fairfield County seeks to build community and improve lives by partnering with low-income families, community volunteers, and donors to build decent and affordable houses in stable and welcoming communities. And that community for the last probably 7 or 8 years has been almost 100% Bridgeport. And in the recent year, it is starting to grow from Bridgeport and grow back west to where we're in Fairfield right now. Our vision means the vision of Habitat for Humanity International, which works around the world, a world where everyone has a decent place to live. And there are volunteer opportunities almost anywhere in the world. I know one of my daughters would build houses in Czechoslovakia. One was in, I believe, Nicaragua. And you know, if you go away for a week, build some houses and come back, and it's a great experience. So just a little history on what Habitat of Coastal Fairfield has done. We're in our 41st year, started in 1985, which is back to close to when Habitat started. If you remember, Jimmy Carter was one of the things that really got it kicked off. He didn't start it, but he was the guy that got it kicked off. And this year we completed our 300th home. And it was we built in Bridgeport, Fairfield, Stratford, Stamford, and are preparing to break ground on 4 new homes on Quincy Street in the town of Fairfield. And we'll come back to this, but these are quite unique houses because these will count for affordable housing for Fairfield. And the town of Fairfield has decided to implement with us, with Habitat, a program. And we've finished 4 houses, they've signed up for another 14. And so they're going to make it part of their program going forward. Come back to it. To date, our work has impacted the lives. Our work in this affiliate has impacted 1,100 family members. And it has added to the tax base primarily of Bridgeport of $800,000. How it worked not too many years ago was the only property available in our entire catchment area was property that had been lost to taxes in the town of Bridgeport. And they would give them to us for $1. And then after we build a house, of course, the resident, after they buy the house, they got to pay property taxes. And so it gets vacant land back on the property, on the tax roll. This is our catchment area. And you'll notice the biggest thing on it is New Canaan's not there. That's because New Canaan is in the catchment area for Danbury. And the name of that one is Housatonic. But in all of this, Bridgeport is a relatively small area that we've been focused on, but it has been pure economics that have had us focused there. Property was just too expensive in any place. When we started here in New Canaan getting involved in this, and it was probably 15 years ago. The first project we worked on was in Stanford. And it was a project that took 2 years to get pulled together between Stanford, General Electric, and I don't know who else to pull the money together, get the property put together. And it's 19 condos or 20 condos across from the hospital in Stanford. And so that got done. That's probably 15 years old by now. That was really the last project that was there. We've got a model, and the model we've got works. interesting about the model is, first of all, people have to qualify. So we put on programs about every quarter or every 6 months, and put an ad in the newspaper and say we're taking people that want to be part of the habitat process for getting a house. In order to qualify to get a house, they have to be between 45 and 70% of the area median income. And you hear this all the time, especially since affordable housing has been a big deal, is everything comes off of average median income. So how many know what the average median income is of New Canaan? New Canaan, just New Canaan. If we were to come to New Canaan,
is it town by town or state?
I believe it's town by town. But I'll tell you, you hear all kinds of numbers from everywhere, and I don't know the right number. So I looked this up on Dr. Google to make sure I got it right, because it's very, very different. The average median income in Bridgeport is about $60,000. Okay, so you take 45% of that. To get to the bottom, you have to be making at least, it's on the order of $30,000 a year to qualify, because Habitat doesn't want anybody that can't afford a house, right? Even if they give them a very favorable mortgage, etc. And once you get up to 70%, so that's about $43,000 a year, I think. That would get you, over that you can't have one. So that gets you qualified to get in there. Then once you're qualified, you're required to take all kinds of classes from us, financial management classes, credit card classes, budgeting, etc. And you also are obligated to work on houses for us for between 200 and 500 hours before you can close on your house. And for the people that we have, it is very difficult to do. And you can't just say to a friend, come do it for me. It has to be you, or it has to be your husband, or it has to be your dad, or some close relative in order to qualify. But most people that qualify, the average family is generally a family that is two families put together. So they've gotten divorced, they've gotten married again, both of them have 2 kids, and both of them have 2 jobs. And so you've got a family with 2 earners that can just barely get to the finish line, and they have to put in 500 hours. And 500 hours is a long time. But we use volunteers, and as you see, volunteers provide somewhere between 65 and 75% of the work for the houses we build. But we don't have the nice thing about Habitat, and Jen can tell us about this, because as you go work on a house, and Jen has come up on now 3 or 4 times, I think, right? And we have project managers that drive the work, and we don't have volunteers do anything they can't do or they don't want to learn how to do. And I think Jen picked up the air hammer, an automatic nailer immediately, and climbed up on a roof. But the other thing that happens, yeah, we do. We do. That's recorded. That is recorded.
Should be in this presentation.
It may be. Let's see what comes up later on. The work they do is really, it's fun work. It's building the walls. It's putting the siding on houses. The work they don't do is getting on roofs. They don't put on roofs. They don't do plumbing. They don't do electrical. They don't do foundations. They don't do anything they can't do. As a result, the homes we build are very, very good homes. And you'll see some pictures of them in a minute. They are a house that I would not mind moving into it at all. And they are Energy Star. They are the best environmental houses you can build. And if you talk to the Bridgeport Building Authority, they will say they're some of the best houses built in Bridgeport. And so they're getting a good house.
Is that 350? The cost.
Yep.
Does that include any amount for land?
No, that 350 is just labor and materials. And it really doesn't include overhead for the headquarters of Coastal Fairfield County for the.
But it would include pouring a foundation.
It would include all of the subcontractors. It would include all of the material. And a lot of the subcontractors give a big discount for doing it. So we've got subcontractors that are part of the program.
And we have hardware stores and everything else that are part of the program. So we get a break on a lot of stuff. Okay? Building materials are in kind. The other interesting thing about this model is no matter what your income is, you know it'll be between 45 and 70% of the area median income. You only pay 30% of your income on a monthly basis. So imagine you're a $35,000 income for the year. That's about, I don't know, $2,200 a month or something is 30% of that. And so you would get a 3-bedroom house for including taxes and insurance that you'd be able to pay off on at $2,200 a month. The mortgage we give them, and we hold the mortgage, is a no interest mortgage for 30 years. And so it's effectively whatever 30% of your income is, divided by 30. That's what you pay annually for it. And once you get it, it doesn't matter what your income is. It doesn't come back and get checked. And you own the home, it's yours. You can sell it, but the home is deed restricted, which does not make it it doesn't make it at the commercial market value if you go to sell it. And Habitat keeps the right of first refusal on if you want to sell your house, because they really do want to keep them moving through and keep them up. So what happens is if somebody wants to sell their house, Habitat buys it, Habitat will refurb it, get another family, bring another family in, and start over on another 30-year mortgage.
How often does that happen?
It happens a lot.
It does.
Yeah, but I can tell you, we have theoretically 300 mortgages, right? And most of them have a principal that was somewhere around $200,000 or $175,000 or something. We've only had like 3 or 4 defaults in the last 41 years.
And if the occupant or the owners start making more money, does their cost go up to you from the mortgage perspective?
No. We used to cap their until this year. We capped their cost when they went in, right? And we capped it at like 200 or 250 or something. But some of them, the median income has gone up so much that they actually could have paid $400, 400,000, and so we decided, look, that's not fair. They need to put some money in. Okay, so that's the model that works, and we have more than enough demand. The interesting thing is that model does not qualify on owned land for affordable housing. Okay, until we get to Fairfield, which we put a model together that works for Fairfield. Okay, now here are our families. We talked a little bit about who they are. This is just an example. The background, that's one of the houses. The background that's a house, there's a dedication. They were just getting their house. That's where we build the walls. It's in a warehouse in Bridgeport. Okay, so as this thing says, multiple jobs. They really, when they're in this program, they are very dedicated to making sure that they get a house for their kids. And that's why they're really working on it, because they're living in some bug-infested apartment someplace that has leaks and has no hot water. And everybody is so delighted, and it just flat changes their lives. This is a typical house. These were Fairfield. These are the 2 that are in Fairfield. This one is in the middle of Bridgeport. You can see they're basically the same design. That's a duplex. So it's got one house that's slightly forward and one that's slightly back. It gives them more privacy. And those fit on a standard city lot. And they've got a backyard. They don't have a garage, but they've got room enough, quite frankly, on one side of the house usually to pull the car in. They could pull into the backyard if they wanted. Those houses we talked about Energy Star already. These houses have 3 bedrooms. They've got a washer, dryer, air conditioning, heating, full basement, and they're just very, very nice homes. The attic does not have any space in it because that's where the air conditioner is and all that stuff. So they don't get much of an attic on it. But as we're looking at using some different models, these are very nice relative to other houses that are being built by other affiliates. A lot of them don't have basements. A lot of them are 2 bedrooms versus 3 bedrooms. but everybody has their own way. Now, this is an important chart. So we do all this, and the families get their house. We talked about no more than 50%, no more than 30%. But 75% of the Habitat homeowners feel their children's health improved after moving into their Habitat home. 50% say their own health improved. Children raised in Habitat homes are twice as likely to go to college. 70% of Habitat families report their children's attitudes towards school improved after moving into their new homes. The increased stability home ownership affords better financial outcomes. 45% of Habitat CFC homeowners reported getting promoted since moving into their homes, and 72% reported increased income. Habitat International, which is across the world, I guess, but at least in the United States, reports very similar things. This point makes they're more involved in their community. And one of the things that you see in Bridgeport is we have put multiple houses in the same community. And that tends to, all of a sudden people start to fix their houses, right? The people that are down the road start to work on their houses, et cetera. And so there's just nothing better than this, quite frankly. What our families say about it: owning my home will create a financial stability, a sense of accomplishment, and family stability for my children and me. It will have a major impact on the children's lives. That's how everybody feels. Many of these folks come back and become volunteers. And several of the project managers they're living in Habitat homes, and they've been in the program 10 years ago or something.
Rich, are the homes together in a neighborhood, or are they scattered here and there?
They're scattered. The ones in the last 5 or 6 years have been scattered here and there. Since property started to get more expensive in Bridgeport, and right now to buy a city lot in Bridgeport is somewhere around $90,000 bucks. With that, we've been very fortunate because we have a large benefactor from New Canaan, which is one of the reasons Bridgeport is very happy with us. But one of the things, and it's George Bauer, is George. He is. George gave him money, and they kind of sat on it for a little bit, and then he called them up and he said, "Come on, buy some property." And they said, "Well, we don't buy property. We just get given property." He said, "That won't work anymore. Use the money I gave you, go buy some property." So they bought 7 lots next to a park, and those lots are now built out. They're complete. All the families are in them. It's worked out very well. And what George likes to do, quite frankly, is when he gives them something like that, he said, "Look, I'll give you $500,000 to buy this property, but I want you to put together a match, right? So if somebody else wants to put money on the property, I'll match it for whatever it is." So they put in $50,000, I'll put in $50,000 more.
I have to add a plug for George and Carol Bauer. You're sitting in a room where they were the largest donor when we built this. Yeah.
And George has been doing this he's been doing it with Habitat for a long time. Yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, I was fortunate enough to travel down with my wife and I, with George and his wife, and we met Carter. Went down to Georgia, went to Americus, Georgia, went through the whole Habitat thing, and so that was fun.
George and Carol are our biggest benefactors for the Waving project. No surprise.
Yeah, but so this is one of the reasons they care about New Canaan. I mean, New Canaan is a big deal for. And that's why, even though we're not in their catchment area. Now, let me just touch that for a second. So why aren't we? You understand why we're not in their catchment area. So why are we working there? The answer is they're out of the 6 affiliates, Hartford and the Bridgeport one are the 2 biggest, and they're the ones that actually build a number of houses. The other ones build 1 or 2 houses a year, something like that.
Has there been a Habitat house built here in New Canaan?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Would it even be feasible, Rich, given the cost of land here?
Well, we'll get into soon. We'll get into Fairfield soon,
Okay.
but it would probably require the town to lease some land to Habitat. What's going on in Fairfield is that the town has taken and leased them the land, and the deal they put together is the town still owns the land. The town deed restricts it, but then Habitat finances and builds the homes that they sell to the people. It's a 75-year lease, right? And the home is on a 75-year lease on a plot of land that is deed protected. As a result, these are able to count for hue points. Now, I don't know the answer to one question you should ask, and that is, if it's a sale deal, is it a 1 hue point or is it 0.5? And I don't know the answer to that, because I think the law says it's 0.5, but I don't know what deal Fairfield's got. And so Fairfield is using this as part of their deal. I have talked to the Affordable Housing Commission. We brought the management from both the Danbury affiliate as well as ours, and we had a discussion with them, told them how it worked in Fairfield. We're interested in doing it. And I was very nervous doing that, quite frankly, because we know how to build 10 houses a year. We don't know how to build 20 houses a year yet, right? And we're now building, we have a backlog of 30 houses right now. We've got 14 from Fairfield, and George put in the money to buy another piece of property on a little bit further outside the limits of Bridgeport that will get 14 houses put on it. But it requires a road and it requires infrastructure that George has helped finance. And so it hasn't gotten up. So we've got 30 houses yet to build, right? And so I'm a little hesitant to be too aggressive with New Canaan and say we'd love to come here and build 10 houses a year. We can't,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to pretend we can. How many? We have. Well, we'll come to that. We'll come to that in a minute here. We out of New Canaan, we volunteer on the order of 10 or 12,000 hours a year. Okay, and we, as you know, because I've been sending everybody invitations, it is one Saturday a month, and you can work in the morning, work in the afternoon, or work all day. So it's generally 3-6 hours a person, something like that. But it's and you know, lots of money has gone down there. But it's just such a great charitable organization for what it does. And you think about affordable housing. The most impressive thing to me is, you know, you can have a 5-story apartment building that Mr. Karp's going to put on the corner there, or you can have, and he's going to put, I guess, 30 affordable apartments in it, right? Or you can have 15 of what I showed you, right? If you're willing to come up with a few city lots, right? Now we've got a lot of property here. It's all owned by somebody, right? And the question is, how do you break that lock? I don't know. The thrift store. I don't know, when you guys give furniture away or something, you can call the thrift store. The thrift store funds about 3 houses a year. It is one of the biggest thrift stores for Habitat in the U.S. So they make about $750,000 net in the year.
Where's that located?
It's located right off of Honey Spot Road, which is right on 95. Right on 95, right on the Stratford border. Stratford, exit 31, I think it is. They'll come and pick it up. The reason they're profitable is they're picky on what they pick up. They only pick stuff up that they think they're going to sell. And you can chat with them on the phone and describe it. And if you describe it wrong, they might come and say, we're not picking it up. The other thing that happens is, since New Canaan's not part of their catchment area, if you call the Restore, you end up talking to Danbury. You don't end up talking to these guys. Okay, but we have a great manager here who unfortunately is about to retire. But as this says, we've got 45,000 square feet of floor space. And we sell not only furniture, we sell kitchen cabinets, we sell stuff that has come out of houses that can be reused. We sell new stuff that are overages from, in the hardware stores and stuff. So here are the volunteer opportunities. They contribute about 18,000 hours in service each year, comprising 65 to 75% of the labor. It is harder to build houses with volunteers than it is to just get a contractor, and so it is more difficult to organize this kind of stuff. We have corporate build days when they come out to build teams in their organization. You want a build day? It costs you $3,500 today to get a build day. Core volunteers. These are people like me. I'm retired. I could be a core volunteer. You work 1 or 2 days a week. Every week you become part of the regular build team. And we have several people here in New Canaan that work with me on Saturdays that do it. We have, I think, 3 people that are core volunteers right now. Youth United is a group that is primarily of Bridgeport kids, but it's a young person's group that they build stuff. And one of the things they build is they build bookcases that get given to the new owners and filled with kids' books for their kids. Women's Build, about 20 years ago, they started running Women's Build, where it's just women. So we got pink tools for those builds. We have contests like what's the one called, Jen? You nailed it. You nailed it. Where they race on how long it takes them to nail to pound in like 20 nails down a board, teams of 3 or 4. Faith and community groups, that's what I'm associated with, because I'm associated with the United Methodist Church, although we really have very few volunteers from the church anymore. They're mostly from the community. And then court-ordered individuals, and I think you understand what that is. Okay, but this is one of the things I really wanted to talk about, because everybody thinks with Habitat, I gotta put on a work belt, I gotta go get dirty, and there's all kinds of stuff that if you're interested in helping, you want to work in the Restore, come work in the Restore. You want to work in the Restore 1 day a week, I'd be glad to do that. We're having a real problem right now, getting enough turnover from our architect. You're an architect? Why you want to work on our drawings? That would be fine. Legal services. Would you help close the deals? We need somebody that pulls the documents together to close the deals. And if we can't find somebody to do it for free, we got to hire somebody to do it, right? And right now, one of the reasons we're not building more homes is we're not getting our building permits, et cetera, approved very rapidly. Even in Fairfield, where they gave us the land. We need an expediter. Go in and somebody that will sit on the desk and make sure things didn't go in the bottom drawer. But so if you're interested in doing something else, give me a call, or you can call them, and there'll be something worked out where you can be very useful, and you'll feel very good about having done it. Join the board. We've got a board of about I think it's about 17 people now, and when I got involved, the guy that was the pastor at our church, he was the chairman of the CFC Habitat, and he was there for, I don't know, a bunch of years. Eric Fjelldahl. So we'd love more engineers. We'd love more volunteers that don't have to pound nails. They can know how to do something else and are glad to do it for free. This is what I'm obligated to put up if I talk about it. Give money. Give money. Okay, we've talked kind of through this. We're at a point where we've got a strategic decision to make. Are we going to try and get heavily involved in affordable housing? If we are, how are we going to go from making 10 houses a year to making 50 houses a year? We were on the phone the other day with Seattle. They do 70 houses a year. Okay, so we know it's possible, but you got to do 2 things that we aren't doing today. You got to get more money from the state, and we get very little money from the state, quite frankly. Most everybody else that is building a lot more houses gets half their money from the state. And I, quite frankly, am afraid once we decide we're going to do this, that Darien's going to catch on and Westport's going to catch on, and they're going to want 10 houses a year. Right, and all of a sudden we're going to have demand that we can't even, we'll be big schmucks.
Is there any, I know a lot of homes now are more modular, that bring in the rooms on a truck and bolt them together. Are you guys doing that?
We're looking at that. We're looking at what else we could subcontract, and what's an effective way to do it, and still use volunteers. We want to use volunteers because it makes them interested in Habitat.
Right.
So we want people to come and have a good time and have a good feeling about Habitat. But we are looking at doing that. The other thing we do is, since we build all of our walls in the winter in a big warehouse, that's a great thing for volunteers, because all it is pounding nails. And it's set up on big tables. You can immediately align the walls. They're all made perfectly square. They're stacked up in the warehouse to wait for spring. And then you can put the whole house up in about 4 days or something, once all the walls are done. Yes.
I just had a question about the volunteering. I mean, we're talking about lawyers to help with drafting the contracts. Have you reached
We,
to
this is a very new idea. You might be the first person that's heard it.
Because that could align very well with, many law firms wanting
It-
to
it
do
could.
pro bono and before it used to be more like immigration and stuff, but
Yeah.
I think that something like that to align with the charitable organization might be.
Yeah, no, lawyers we have reached out to. I know our chairman is a lawyer from Stratford, and he's got a firm of his own, so he's running a law firm.
More law firms, like
Right.
bigger law firms that have.
No,
bigger
exactly.
budgets.
See, I think one of the things we're going to need if we decide to get into this affordable housing thing is we're going to need people that want to go meet people in the towns and understand how to get the town interested in this, as we've gotten them interested in Fairfield. We need some people that understand construction. They understand low-income housing, and we need architects because the drawings have to be signed before we can build. And when you get a free architect, they say, we'll be glad to do it for nothing, and then it sits in the bottom drawer and doesn't get done. So it holds up construction.
What like construction companies, like real estate development companies, if, I don't know about that, but like, would that also work, for them to get some kind of tax write-off if part of their, part of their donations or even, some of their workers will come and
today we don't work with them in that manner, and we perhaps could. The way we typically work with them, because they like to control all their workers and what they're doing, is we'll hire the plumbers, the electricians. If we need more carpenters, we'll hire a firm to do that, and they will give us a good deal. I'm about to get the hammer here. Only one other thing that I haven't said that I think is quite interesting. The average median income in New Canaan is $250,000 versus $60,000 in Bridgeport. So that what we could build here would cost a lot more to get, quite frankly. Should we ring the bell? Any other questions? Yeah, Jean.
I just have a comment, because I went last night to a fascinating program that was put on the library about Columbus, Indiana, and the sense of community, okay, was what came out, and the fact that they are 60,000 population with no, that's just created because of the sense of beauty that they created there, because of the giving of one individual is interested in funding the public buildings, and he compared it a lot to ours here with our buildings with the modern houses, but they're now kind of analyzing this. The original family are deceased, and so they have this organization that's analyzing what it is that makes this a very stable, small community in somewhat of a rural setting, and comparing it to a few other cities in the United States. But what you're saying, your question about having houses dispersed in different populations would be against what they've observed, because of developing that sense of community, trying to have them all together.
Mm-hmm.
When you said it's a park, they do have outdoor activities that are people very proud. They're very proud to stay there. They don't have a population that moves out because, like the
Yeah.
other Midwestern
Mhm.
places. But
That's interesting.
a lot to learn from what they are learning about
Mhm.
themselves and why this works.
Oh, that's interesting. We should look into that.
Yeah.
Rich, that's great, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's it, thank you.